Had a bit of a nightmare then, didn't I, with the EPL preview show? It's quite the opposite.
It's hard, isn't it? Because things are changing, things are moving, and now we're like going in. It's all good, Gary. It's all good.
How you doing anyway?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I haven't seen you for a bit.
Dressed for the occasion tonight as well?
Well, I wasn't going to say anything and see if anybody clocked it and anyone noticed it. But, it's the awards show. It's the end of season grand finale on EPL Across the Pond. So for end of season awards show, we thought the budget wasn't there, was it? The budget just
we just thought you know what, my tux is in the cleaner, so I just thought I'd zhuzh it up and go tuxedo t-shirt. And it's functional as well because I can wear it again then as well.
It's very practical. It's actually a nice fit. Mine's
not as bad. I thought it was going to be like the Zinedine Zidane attempt again, where it ended up looking more like Frank Butcher. But like this one looks okay now. It fits all right, and it's black as well, so it's slimming anyway.
It's hard as well because obviously we left it to the last minute, and whatever came in the mail, right? It was that one's a bit snug. Let me just size up and get another one. It's like we made it work. You look great, so that's all that matters.
No, thanks very much, mate. And you know what does look great and does definitely fit better are the two of the t-shirts behind me. I've humbled myself tonight, mate, because these two numbers behind us, they do fit nice. They do feel nice as well. The quality, because we can't leave out Numazane as well. You know what?
No, good quality. Got the Victoria Concordia.
I know. I had to humble myself because they won the league, didn't they? So. I couldn't go against them.
One for your Red Army and stuff. So
I've got the Liverpool one. It's got the "You'll Never Walk Alone" on the back, and then it's got the Liver Bird on the front.
Your connections with Celtic. I don't want to put that one out there.
Well, it turns out the other day I saw an article about that the other day. It turns out that both, even though Jerry Marsden released the song, they both adopted it around the same time. And it's for the same sort of meaning as well. So I'm not arguing, and I'm not even getting onto that one tonight.
Listen,
even
put it to bed from a Manc. The guy who wrote the song and sang the song was from Liverpool, right? And he's singing it based on his experiences and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Go from there. Leave it at that.
Exactly. Anyway, listen, we are here tonight to wrap up the season.
Yes, sir.
On behalf of EPL Across the Pond. We've got a couple of little awards. It's basically, we say awards, it's our opinions. But we've got a couple of opinions on a couple of different things. Most of them, to be fair, when we were talking about this the other day, most of them were actually, I thought we were going to go the same for a lot of things. We do look distinguished, don't we? We do look dapper, don't we? It's called Soap and it's cheap Amazon t-shirts, mate, yeah. But
should we put in Amazon because they're not an official sponsor of the show? If you'd like to get involved, you'd like to sponsor future shows with Gary and Chris, then by all means, we'll take
Let's get Jeff. We'll get Jeff on the phone. Yeah, we'll get Jeff.
Yeah, Big B. Get Big B on there as well. So yeah, we're looking good. Kelly, maybe he could take you out in this, Cal. Be careful what you wish for. Because it could be one of those.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for, Cal. Because
you guys have crazy schedules, right? So it could be like, all right, what's the dress code tonight? Smart casual. All right, well, off we go. I'll see you down there.
I mean, this is smart and casual at the same time. Yeah,
winning. I don't think let's not bother talking about football tonight. Let's just talk about the shirts.
That's what I mean. I'll be the guy in the corner with the dodgy tuxedo t-shirt on. You'll notice me. I don't even need a carnation. Exactly.
You could do your Carragher look, couldn't
you? The look across blue steel all night. So before we get to the awards, because we've got about 7 or 8 categories, we had them listed. As much as I don't want to talk about it, when you think about this season in a couple of years' time, if someone brings up the 25-26 season, mate, what are you going to say about it?
Controversial stuff, political stuff. Look at that picture.
I swear, Gav.
Picture.
Nice threads, but not as nice as Gavin Quirk's profile picture.
Nice
Quirk.
What is it tonight, Gav? It's headshots. We're doing headshots. And that was before ChatGTB and all those.
Can you imagine?
LinkedIn now, you can edit it, can't you?
Gav's headshot with this t-shirt, proper. This would be unbelievable.
We'll send you one, Gav. We'll send you one, buddy. This season, what they're going to think about when they look back on and stuff. I was trying to think about this the other day. Of what's the highlights. Obviously, I think we'll look at it. Arsenal broke their drought. There was an incredible amount of pressure on Arteta. He had to deliver this year, didn't he? If he didn't deliver, he's basically gone. And each year it was always, excuse after excuse after excuse. But I think it's going to be Arsenal breaking the drought. because it had been so long. I don't think there was really much excitement. The controversial stuff about VAR and all that kind of stuff as well. And we were talking about this before. There's very little to really get excited about this season if you're not an Arsenal fan, right? There was very little to really conjure up the excitement of where we could go at. You could look at maybe Sunderland, Brentford, two of the favourites to go down, who had fantastic seasons. But that was it. You know what? The other thing I can compare it to is, and this will probably come out for the Arsenal thing in the long run. Everyone goes about their invincible season, but that wasn't even the best Arsenal team that's won the Premier League. But if you take away, if Van Nistelrooy scores that penalty at Old Trafford, and there's no invincibles, nobody talks about that Arsenal side. They just don't, because it was an average side that won the league. And I think this was point in case of the season this year. It was an average side that won the league, because there was no star players in that team. That literally, no one's getting 25, 30 goals. No one's controlling midfield and bossing it. You know, their best player was arguably the keeper. That's my take. I don't be negative for the start of the show. So, Gary,
have I really got to carry the positive flag here?
You've got to in this one.
All right, you ready? I'm going to take it. All right. Outside of Arsenal, I'm looking at teams. Like, I think it was a very good year for the mid-table teams, if that makes sense. Like, I think if you were a fan of a mid-table team, like SAS just mentioned then, Bournemouth, Brentford, Sunderland, even Everton, like Forest to a certain extent towards the end of the season, Leeds as well, like Palace, obviously Palace had a season.
Brighton. Another season.
Like, these teams all the way up to the last couple of weeks of the season were in it. Like the way that the season fell this year, just by, I don't know, teams underperforming or teams overperforming. Yeah, you know what? He's right as well. I was going to say this as well. Yeah. I was going to say that as well. Like
50th, if you're 50th to third, 50th,
yeah, like
third.
At some point of the season, like again, Liverpool. Well, I'm biased, obviously, but Liverpool were 12th at one point, finished in the top 5. Like, and everyone thought they were dead and buried. Man United come from nowhere this year. Villa stayed up there, but you've got like your Bournemouth, your Brighton, your Brentford. All those teams were still competing at the end, and at one point, everyone thought Leeds were dead and buried. I had Forest going down at Christmas, and they countered to it in the end. I mean, it was a little bit hairy, but they got themselves out of trouble and were good value for it.
So the two managers that to really think about that kind of thing is, you look at Iraola, was 18 games undefeated. And then even with Forest, they went on a run of, I think it was like 9 or 10 games overall without losing and stuff. To, again, one gets over the line and one gets well up the table as well. So, yeah, I think to that point, when we do look back at the season, I don't think anyone's going to be going on about how Arsenal were just unbelievable, unstoppable, like we saw when, the year Liverpool won the league, or some of the seasons when City have won the league. They've just been unplayable, unstoppable. I don't think we had that with Arsenal, and I think that comes down to, unfortunately, controversial decisions and just things we'll get onto in a bit. I'm more excited for next season than I was for this season, if I'm perfectly honest.
This is also a very good point as well. Like, it spoke to the league. Is it, you can't go, oh, well, the whole of Europe's crap because the Premier League wasn't that good this season and there's 9 Premier League teams in Europe next year and 2 teams won. Like, there is quality there. I think there was, and people will always say, oh, well, the league was crap this year. I don't disagree with that. I think the league was more competitive this year, and I think that's why it shook out the way that it shook out.
What was the stat that came out the other day? I don't want to make it up and everything, but West Ham got more money for getting relegated from the Premier League than I think the team that won the Serie A did for winning the league. I think West Ham got like 100 million, whatever it was. I want to make it up, but West Ham basically got more money from getting relegated where they finished in the league than the team that won Serie A. And it's just, that shows you the power of the Premier League and how much money it generates. And, it's mad.
And you look how dominant those teams were in Europe as well. Like Villa battered, Villa's final was essentially the semi-final against Forest in Europa League, and Palace, albeit 1-0, they dominated that game as well against, was it Valladolid? Is that they played?
I think it was Valladolid. Yeah, valid point. I mean, even the games when watching Forest in Europe, when they were playing against, they were playing in Turkey, they played Porto, they battered Porto. And I'm thinking this is Forest versus Porto, and Porto, won the Champions League, but they're shadows of the form themselves as well. And when is it Fenerbahce Forest played? I can't remember.
Yeah.
They battered them. They absolutely battered them. And fair enough, the Turks trashed the stadium and everything at the City Ground, but you'd expect these games to be closer. You expect to be more competitive, more of a closer game, but the gap is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger now. And, the financial implications are just showing that as well. Yeah,
true. Very true. Well, we'll see what happens next year, but we'll talk a little bit about the end. Should we get to the awards here?
That's what we're dressed smartly for.
All right. So category 1 was overachievers. It's a little bit harsh, this, but overachievers. The way we're going to do this. Do you know what? I'm going to do this. I love this, me. You ready? You having this one?
Go. Well, you're in charge, Drew. All right. You want to talk about yours, and I'll talk about mine. How's that?
All right. So I went with, for overachievers, I went with Bournemouth. And I know you can't do this. It's very American, though, isn't it, to go honourable mention Forest. But Bournemouth again, they're just another team that a couple of years ago they were down. They're always around 15th to 17th. And they just went on a run this year and they really, really got ahead of themselves. Listen, the manager's just come to Liverpool off the back of this. But this guy's been playing quality for a long time, playing quality football that's winning games. And I think this season they really, really kicked on. And for them to get into Europe this year when no one really gave them a chance is fantastic.
It's also one of the hardest places to go and play at. If you look, it's such a small stadium, and it's they get less than 20,000, but teams go down there, they just don't get results. And it was at 18 games he went undefeated towards the end of the season to finish 6th, and they're only 3 points away from getting a Champions League finish.
Yeah, and I went for Dominic Calvert-Lewin for overachieving player, because I think when he signed for Leeds, it was like, right, you know what, he's going back over that way. He'll do okay, but he won't do that. He'll be okay. But for him to get the amount of goals that he got, I thought was fantastic. So he's my overachiever.
Sure. So I went with Arsenal because I don't think anybody, apart from the Arsenal TV mob, I don't think anyone really had Arsenal to win the league. And in fairness to Arsenal, they were top all season. It wasn't as if it was backwards and forwards. And there was a stint at the end when we all thought City were going to come forward and take over, but nobody had them down for achieving what they did. And goal scorer, I went with Igor Thiago, and that could be down to who he was playing for and what he achieved, but the goals he scored consistently. He never really had a bad run. He was just consistently scoring goals week after week after week. And then one thing I'll never talk about in the show is players getting linked with teams and everything. But even today, he's been linked with pretty much everybody. And I'm sure that if someone will throw some money at them, I'm sure it could be an option as well. But yeah, Thiago, no one ever had him down as being one of the top scorers in the league this year. And fantastic. Congratulations.
And, got himself in the Brazil squad off the back of it as well, didn't he? So can't argue with that. All right, underachievers. I got a feeling I'm going to get pelters for this.
It's your opinion, Gary. It's just opinions. That's all we're here.
It is opinions, but already, I just think I'm going to get pelters. So I went Liverpool, me. And I know people are going to come off and go, well, Jota this and the players and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, all right, okay. Well, Liverpool won the league last year at a canter.
Right.
And they just didn't do it this year, caught for the manager. There were so many variables, and I understand that. And I've been a Liverpool fan for a very long time. But for me, they were the ones this year. They didn't do what. And just when you thought they were good, they were great, fine margins at the beginning, but they were winning games. And then they were a bit of a dip in form. And I just think, thanks, mate. I appreciate this. SAS is right behind me there. Good lad. But I just think that even when there was sparks of we might turn the corner here. And in the past we just didn't. And we bombed it again. And I just think that was the biggest problem. And then I went with Isak. And again, I'll probably get fume on that one because it's he was injured. But Isak killed himself at the beginning of the year by refusing to train, refusing to play. And then when he got his move and the move finally went through to Liverpool, he wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So that and then he got injuries off the back of that. And then obviously he was unfortunate against Tottenham after he'd scored the goal and he got smashed. But it was such a spotty start. And I think he contributed to his own downfall this season. Listen, if you've seen the goal that he scored the other day for Sweden against Norway, I'm like, okay, let's get him back after. He'll be like a new signing next season.
That's Sweden. He'll get injured in the World Cup in the summer. You watch. Are we different? Yeah, it's a tough one with those. I always look at the fact, if you're talking about players that sign for that kind of money, you want them to have a couple of seasons consistently playing 30 plus games. And even his time at Newcastle, he never really had that consistency of playing 30, 40 game seasons. So it was a big ask for him to come to Liverpool and be the guy, right? Be the guy, because all that talk behind the scene that Salah, has he got 1 year left, 2 years left? What's he going to do? But it was a big ask for someone to come in who'd not consistently done it for over a period of time to be the guy. And it was a lot of pressure. And yeah, he had his injury problems and stuff, but it also didn't help him, his behavior and, pre-season and all that kind of stuff. But so for me, underachievers, I went for Newcastle again, spent money, spent big money on Elanga last year. And, Eddie Howe was supposed to be the next big thing. And, they were almost dragged into the relegation thing towards the end. I know they finished 10 points off the drop and everything. But at one point they went through 5 or 6 games without a win, and they were hovering above that, and they got a couple of wins to get themselves out of it. And then obviously for underachiever player, we've talked about him before in the past and stuff, and you have to go Cole Palmer.
Biggest enigma in the Premier League. Come at me.
Yeah,
I'd challenge anyone on that one.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because obviously we talked about all the controversy with the England World Cup squad at the minute. And, you see a lot of the ex-boys coming in and saying, we don't have a flair player off the bench. We don't have someone that can give a little bit extra. And people go on about, you could say Spuds. That's a good shout, Gav. You could say about, Cole Palmer's the flair player. But he's not shown it this season. For me, if you're going to pick Palmer or Foden, I'm going Foden because he's done it consistently in the past. He's had a bit of a bad season, but the last half a dozen games of the season, Foden was playing. He was, getting back to showing signs of what he can do. So if there's a flair player that probably should have gone out of the two of them, I'm picking Foden, but Palmer's just a bust for me, to be honest. Is he that one and done? I know you think he is, Gaz. I know you don't think he's going to come back from that. And again, he's linked going to United. Is that, going back to his hometown team that he supported as a kid? Is that going to be the move for him? But if you can't do it at Chelsea for more than one season or half a season, you don't deserve that big money move, or you don't deserve that chance.
He's guaranteed 2 good games next year. One at Anfield against us, and then one at Stamford Bridge against us. You just know it, don't you?
Right.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, well, he's done it now. Your Hugger Hotspur campaign. I blame you for Spurs staying in the Premier League because they were done. They were done until you started your
Hugger Hotspur. I know. All right.
Campaign.
Next one.
The week after that, they got a point against you lot, and that was the end of the rot.
Oh, mate, forget it. I saved them. Saved them. Exactly. All right, next one. This is best goal.
Okay.
So we haven't got the videos because, again, we'll get fleeced on the license and YouTube will shut us down. But I have Mitoma against Newcastle. And for those of you who've seen the goal, it was very like the Suarez goal from years ago, which ironically enough was against Newcastle as well. Massive goal kick. The touch is unbelievable. And he's took him inside the last defender and he's just bent it in the bottom corner.
Right.
And then the honourable mention would be Szoboszlai against Arsenal. The free kick.
Oh, couldn't you you'd love to go back to that moment, wouldn't you guys, when you thought, oh, we're going to do it. We're going to win the league.
Honestly, horrible.
Yeah, I've gone with pretty much the only goal they're probably going to score, but Asula's versus United. Well, I think it was like the 92nd minute, and he's jinked down the wing. He's got inside, and he just bent it round. So good move from front to back, should we say. And then Mbuemo's versus Man City, just a great team move. Reminded me a lot of the Ronaldo, Park, Rooney combination against Arsenal years ago, where he had a great little bit of move, counter-attacking football, and just a great finish from Mbuemo. The tricky thing with this, and we talked about this before, is for me, if you're picking that goal of the season, it's always good to have it in a game that's significant, right? A game that it won the league, or it won a last-minute winner, and it's first versus second, or a goal that kept your team in the league and stuff. But maybe that's just a sign of this season. The goal of the season were just goals in games that didn't really mean anything at the end.
Yeah, not a bad shout. Not a bad shout. All right, next one. Do I go with me drum roll again?
Well, you're doing a good job. Keep it consistent, Gaz.
Yeah, exactly. All right, okay. SAS is giving a go. Reed against Liverpool. He's retired after that goal.
Checked out.
Not a bad shout at all. I'm going player of the year.
Okay.
You know what? I knew you'd go Bruno Fernandes, but I went Declan Rice because I think like that type of player, he's bossed them. And then, but honourable mention for Raya. Like the story of David Raya, for those who don't know, is the fact that he was playing for Southport 12 years ago in the National League is unbelievable. So for him and the season that he's had, I mean, he's.
Can you remember when they signed Raya? And everyone was like, what are they signing him for? Why is it?
They had Ramsdale. They had Ramsdale, didn't they? And then they thought, oh, well, why are you signing him? And then everyone was down on Ramsdale, thinking like, oh, it's so sad. It's a shame. This is ruthless from Arsenal. But Raya's turned out to be, and seems like a good personality as well in an Arsenal team where, listen, it would arguably hard to like a lot of those players this season, just because they were getting away with murder, perceptive, on the perception. And
well, we talked about it before. It's like you've normally got to have a player that's winning the league and your player of the season. But go back to Ginola, Gareth Bale, Suarez when they won player of the leagues. Bruno's stats this year have just been just disgusting. They've just been disgusting. And you think about how shit some of United's finishing has been, and it's not necessarily what his stats, what he got from assist. There was a reel that came out on TikTok or something that showed you how many assists he probably could have got if players would have put simple chances away. When you had Sesko missing them from like 4 or 5 yards out, even Cunha and Buemo missing simple chances as well. Yeah, you could say that as well, buddy, about Arsenal players going in there and stuff. Raya for me has been the player, but you want excitement, don't you, guys? You want excitement of players that have either scored a boatload of goals or just put stats out that have just broke the internet kind of thing. And Bruno for me he's been that special player this year that you don't mind watching him play because he's exciting. And
yeah. There's always going to be an argument. There's always going to be an argument.
Like me, and he's probably going to dine out on his free kicks against Madrid for the next 20 years, or so to speak. But I would like to think he can run it a bit at the World Cup. If he's going to do anything, if he's going to prove it, he's prove people wrong. You'd hope it's at the World Cup. Hey, I'll say it now, mate. I'll say it now. If England win the World Cup and Rice is a superstar, I'll get Rice 4 or whatever number he's got on the back of my shirt. How's that?
That's fair enough. All right. I'm not going drum roll this time. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I've got Young Player of the Year. Ready?
Sure.
This is the one that you didn't get in time.
I get question marks.
You having that?
Well, you know what? I'll start. I pretty much was going to go the same as you, but then like when we were putting this together, it was like O'Reilly, and then the question I had was what is considered as a young player of the year anymore? Because when we were kids, young was 18, 19. Now it's like 23, I think they consider a youngster as. So for me, I'd probably go the same as you, O'Reilly. I thought about Fernandes at West Ham because he's 20, 21, and he's had a great season. But then the other one I came up with as well, the guy, I'm having a mind block now. Let me look his name up again. Go on, you do your thing and I'll find his name.
No, well, I had Nico O'Reilly, didn't I? Because again, he's got himself into the England squad. He gets himself in some forward positions. He was exciting to watch. He's another one. You talk about exciting players that get bums off seats. Like when he's going forward, he popped up into some ridiculous areas this year. The way that they used him as a left-sided defender, and he got himself in some cracking positions and scored a lot of important goals, which kept City going in games when they needed to keep the pressure on Arsenal and push them forward as the season went on. So happy that he's got himself in the England squad off the back of it as well. Yeah, that's why I went with him.
The other ones I was thinking of as well is obviously Shirky, but he's 22 and that
he's kind of on the bubble with that, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember my mind, but the other kid was the kid at Bournemouth, Krupi, young kid, 18, 19 years old, attacking midfielder, scored looking at the stats now. I wrote it down earlier. Scored 13 Premier League goals this season. And for a young kid doing that, in that Bournemouth side, that's part of the reason why Iriola's got that big move. It's part of the reason that they finished 6th in the league. You got a 19-year-old banging in 13 Premier League goals. That all goes towards it and stuff. But you're probably right. Probably O'Reilly what's O'Reilly, like 18, 19?
Yeah, and on the Rio stuff as well, like I know SAS mentioned about Rio, that I just don't think Rio played enough. There's no question that he's got quality, and I think hopefully next season he's going to... If Rio is treated like Krupi next season, then I think you're going to be talking about Rio for Young Player of the Year. Early shout, but again, early, very biased, very partisan shout.
Tune in June 4th, 2027 for...
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, what is it? Yeah, June 4th next year. This time next year, lads. Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, isn't it? I don't know.
Clip it up, get it up.
All right. I'll go transfers next. I'm going back to the bongos, sack it.
Keep it going. Can't stop now.
So I went Shirky.
Yeah.
Because, again, exciting player. Picking these City players is killing me, but I just think he was one that this season, he's going to be another one that next year, regardless of what happens to City next year, if something comes of it.
He's just exciting to watch. Even in the friendlies, he was doing like crazy flicks and whatnot. And there was a meme that came out today was now Pep's gone, you're going to see even more, because Pep would have reeled him in, wouldn't it? Don't do too many flicks and cheeky stuff. He's got that flair. He reminds me from City players in the past, a little bit of a mix between a Riyad Mahrez and a David Silva, where he's got pace, the sight of, you don't know what he's going to do, which is what makes it exciting. So, yeah, really, again, I don't want these players at City, but they're exciting to watch. For me, I went with Gahey. What was it, $20 million or £20 million in January? Part of the reason that City even got close and pushing them was their defence really sorting itself out for the second half of the season. And when you're signing someone like Gahey for 20 million, that's a great shout with Le Mans as well. Part of the issues that were well documented with United last year was Onana. And they've finally got a young keeper who I think in a year's time, Sass, I think Lemans is going to be one of the best Premier League keepers we've ever seen. Because I think he's young, he's German, because they've got that tradition of being great, confident, controllable goalkeepers. I think you're going to see potentially him in the Premier League for the next decade of just being a great keeper. And then I didn't want to do the honourable mention because that's a very Gary thing. But
no, it's very American, but you did. So.
But I did. So I felt obliged to. And Morgan Gibbs-White, again, not a new signing, but we all know that it was pretty much, I won't say gun to the head by Mr. Marinakis last year. But the fact that, he stayed and he re-signed a contract, that was part of Forest's involvement. Again, without being too biased, I think Morgan Gibbs-White has got that something that we seem to be missing in that third part of the field this summer. But let's put all the faith in Tomas to see what he can do, and we won't get into too much of the England squad. That's a different show.
No, I'm not even starting with the England squad. All right, next one.
He's on the plane for me. He would have been on the plane.
You've got to go with him, haven't you? You have to, don't you? You've got to eat humble pie and just go with him.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, again, like we talked about at the start, if Arteta's not won the league this year, he's the first manager getting fired. The amount of pressure, and again, we talked on the show in previous weeks when they had that little rock period and City clawed it back from, I don't know how many points they were behind at one point, Gaz, but it was almost unthinkable. And then they got it back and they overtook them, and everybody had City down. That's it now. Pep's done it before. They've been on this crazy run. They're going to carry on. And Arteta was the guy that rallied the troops and dragged them over the finishing line. So, kudos to him.
I know. You have got to say, especially for the amount of pressure that they must have been feeling after 22 years, because even when Liverpool in 2020, albeit COVID and everything else came in, the pressure at one point, I think until they beat Man United at Anfield, I think just before COVID, it was like the pressure's immense. And to get them over the line after everything that happened and City pegging them back, you've got to give it to him, haven't you? But I think Keith Andrews at Brentford, and I know there's other ones out there as well, but Keith Andrews is just an example of what they're doing at Brentford. Like, I wrote them off immediately at the beginning of the season when he came in, and he's done a fantastic job with them. And
we laughed, didn't we? We laughed about it, and it was just like, what they're doing? Are they cutting costs? Are they just like almost admitting they're going to go down and just try and rebuild it? And every year I'm the same. I think Bournemouth's going to go down. I think Brighton's going to go down. And I think Brentford, the three Bs, it can't last forever. But whilst it's lasting, they fans have just got to enjoy it. They must be loving it.
Yeah, no, he's done it. He's done a cracking job. All right, we've got two more left. This one's going to... Remember, I'm on a time crunch tonight as well. But, you know what? I actually don't know about that one. Was he a set piece coach?
He was a set piece. He was supposed to be the expert, one of these set piece experts.
Was it? Well, I tell you what, he's worked this season, hasn't it, with the long throws. Let's be honest with that one. All right.
I don't even know what's coming.
This might take us a while. I just wrote down the 3 sort of worst VAR moments or multiple moments during the season. Like the Arsenal West Ham one. As much as I think it's a foul in that game, and it does have a bearing on the season, it was happening. So there's the inconsistency with stuff like that was a killer for me. But I suppose my question to you is, do Arsenal still win the league if that goal goes in? Callum Wilson's goal stands.
You know what? We'll never know.
I know, it's great.
We'll never know, because it could be one of those where games after that, they've got to adjust things. Could have been the pressure. I mean, the one thing, again, we mentioned it a minute ago, the one thing I'll give Arteta with the amount of pressure that he's had this season to deal with, to rally those troops, because none of the players in that team have literally won the Premier League before. There's no old heads you can go to or experienced pros to say, all right, you're the guy. Look at their main players. Raya, not really come from anything. Declan Rice, not come from anything. You could probably say, and maybe one of the overachievers this year was Kai Havertz. If you looked at some of the key goals, the 1-0 games, Havertz always scored. Scored in the Champions League final. He was very, very key, but nobody thinks about him because he didn't start every game. He didn't play every game, but he scored key goals, and maybe his experience was what they kind of needed up front from that kind of to get him over the line. But there's so many what ifs about this season, isn't there? There's the near records you had on the list as well of how many of those questionable second yellows that should have been second yellows, they just got waved away.
Lewis Skelly plays on the edge, but he got away with a few.
Right. There was one for Timber, I remember.
This,
you know what? I think it's one of those where it's like, my only hope for next season is they try and clean up the rules of VAR. Because the one at the top, the Arsenal West Ham one, it's given for a foul on the goalkeeper, but there was at least 5 fouls before that incident happened that should have been addressed. And I'm okay if they'd have said, you know what, defenders pulling the striker, penalty, or strikers pulling the defender, free kick for West Ham, or free kick for Arsenal, sorry. I'm okay with that. But it's the fact that they've ignored both teams pulling shirts, which they were, and they've almost said, well, you're doing it and you're doing it, so let's cancel it out and let's look for something else. As opposed to, if VAR really wants to work, you wind it all the way back, you find the very first incident, and that's the free kick you give.
Yeah. And then the Brighton one, the last one that I had down, Brighton are always in those tables whereby, like, if you have, I'll stick it back on again because I like seeing me in a suit. But if you look at those tables where, like, if this person had this, and if my nan had wheels, she'd be a bike, and if this hadn't have happened in this game or whatever it is, like, Brighton have had a couple where they've been denied penalties, but then been the other team that they played against has been given penalties, right, like in random situations. Like, so Brighton have been stitched a little bit. But again, I think that comes back to your point about you hope that next season it gets looked at, it gets critiqued, and they develop as well, because people are still making mistakes no matter what happens. So you just hope that gets pulled into next year.
The other one we didn't put on there as well, I just remembered as well. You remember the United Bournemouth game where there was 2 identical penalty incidents within like a minute or 2 of each other.
Yeah.
One got given and the other one didn't get given. And I think that's what irks fans the most, isn't it? It's that inconsistency. It's like, okay, this one's been given because the player's put both hands on the other player and he's pushed him over. It happened 4 or 5 minutes later. 2 hands go on, I think it was Ahmed. gets pushed over. No, and they looked at it as well, and it's just like, just be consistent. That's all we want for next year. I've got my things to hope for next year is consistency with the decisions that are happening. I'd love to go back to the days where it's just okay. Now they want to start doing it for throw-ins and free kicks, and it's just it's
corners. Yeah, this is the problem as well. Like, how many times this year the PGMOL come out and go, "Oh, sorry, yeah, we made a mistake." It doesn't fix what's happened on the field.
Right.
Like West Ham got that, and it's like, "Oh, nice one still," but we're still going down. So,
right.
Anyway, yeah, more consistency. All right, last one of the day. I think this is one of the most important ones as well. We're going EPL Across the Pond fans of the year. Now, we've only been doing this for a short amount of time, I think, since February, but these are our two favourites. We've got Kev Benson all the way from... Oh, are you going to guess?
No. I was simply going to say, before you put it up, I was going to say, I just want to thank all the friends and the family of EPL Across the Pond. And again, Gary and I, myself, have since been doing this, been humbled and really grateful for the... thank you for all the people that have joined in, supported the show and got involved, and be it our Facebook group or Instagram, TikTok, or wherever you support the channels. You guys make the show. Gary and I just waffle about it, but what really gets us through the shows and what really gives us the energy is you guys joining in and
on cue. Yes, lads. Yes, lads.
Also, it was a new time slot tonight as well for a different peak show because Gary's got responsibilities. He's got to wear this shirt out tonight to make sure he looks class when he goes out.
I've literally got to, in about 5 minutes, just got to go like Clark Kent, go and put my kit on and run out the door. Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Really appreciate all the love and the support that the show's had for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been class. So fair play. But I mean, there's been plenty of them. I will not stretch to Berv. He's probably still on the golf course now. Oh, that's not even the one.
He doesn't get an honourable mention.
He doesn't get an honourable mention. Yeah, I'll just say thanks. I'll just say thanks on the side somewhere as well. SAS, I'm not even going to try and butcher your name, mate. I'm not even going to try and do it, Morgs. I can't because I don't want to be disrespectful to someone and just buckle the name.
Well, we don't upset the HR department at EPL Across the Pond.
I'll be dragged in again. I think I've already been dragged in twice, so it's a problem anyway. All right, so listen, there are awards, but before we go, we got probably 5 minutes left or something like that. And you said it before. What are you looking forward to most out of the 26-27 Premier League season?
I'll be quick on this. So I'm excited for Coventry back in the Premier League. So Cov City, it's been a long time coming. I was actually at the game that relegated Coventry many years ago, Villa Park. They got battered. Well, they were 2-0 up, ended up losing 3-2 to the Villa. I was there that day. I'm excited to see Cov back in the Premier League. I think they're a massive club, got a great following. They averaged 20-odd, nearly 30,000 fans last year. I'm really excited for the Carrick, Iriola, Alonso, Maresca, the new dawn of all these managers at the so-called super clubs. I think it's going to be really exciting. Satish.
I was going to say that as well, Satish. Damn it.
I'm really excited for the new managers coming into the so-called big clubs. It's going to be a challenge. Who's going to be the new top two, the top three, or whatever it's going to be? I think it's really exciting. And I'll say it, mate, because I keep saying it all the time. 115. 115. Is it time? Is it now is the time? Did Pep leave for a reason? Is he gone on his hollybobs early because he knows? And Maresca's going to take the job because he took the Leicester job. He took the Chelsea job because he wants a job. Are they pulling to one side and say, look, it's going to be ugly for a couple of years. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. But what else are you going to do? Do you want to be Man City manager, or are you just going to bounce around a couple of lower league teams?
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
What about you? What you got?
Do you know what I'm looking forward to? And I love this as well. I'm looking forward to the bounce after the World Cup, whether it's teams signing new players, because there's going to be some. I almost feel like if we, wherever we wind up next year, I feel like it's going to be. Yeah, exactly. That's happening if he jumps ship. But I feel like after the World Cup, we should have a show where it's like, who's going to flop and who's going to fly? Like it's one of those things, and I'd love to see what happens. I want to see what happens with the World Cup, and then I want to see what the knock-on effect of that is. Who are people going to sign off the back? Who's going to be someone at this World Cup who's immediately playing in the Prem next year? And which club's he going to be playing for? And why is it Brighton? Because they always seem to sign these random lads.
I went down a rabbit hole the other day because you can do brackets online and everything. And I was doing my bracket and I was filling it all out to see who goes where and everything. And there's a couple of games, and then I start thinking further than that. It's like, okay, well, if this team's going to beat that team 3 or 4-0, who's going to score the goals? So you start looking down, and you only need like one guy. If anyone scores 4 or 5 goals at a World Cup, they're getting flagged for a big money move. And like you say, it's there's going to be players having a decent, semi-decent World Cup. The energy and the confidence that they bring that back to the club side, wherever it is, will take them to the next level. And mate, I'm excited for the World Cup to get started, but I'm excited for next year because Forest are in the Premier League for another year, and that's why we're here. I'm
just looking forward to a little bit of passion at Anfield, and I think I'm just quietly confident that we're going to get it.
I want
something positive to talk about.
The next time you set foot on those terraces at Anfield, I want you to wear this shirt.
Mate, if I can get it back from the dry cleaners in time, I'm going to be wearing it tomorrow night. Never mind at Anfield, which God knows when I'm going to get home. Probably at Christmas now. But yeah, exactly. Well, listen, that's me. Lads, like we said before, thank you to everybody who's watched the show. Thank you for everybody who is... Oh, you know what? I was going to say this. We've got a link, haven't we, to a cracking little World Cup predictor.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. When we channel this all up, I'll put it on Instagram. I'll put the link on Instagram.
Yeah.
We can have, I think you can add people. So we can have like I'll figure it out. Don't worry, Kev. I'll put
we'll figure that one out. But listen, listen, from me, thanks so much for the support. Thanks so much for every interaction, every bit of engagement we've had over the past, 3, 4, 5 months, maybe.
Yeah, it's flown by. It's flown
Hope
by.
everyone has a great summer. Any Liverpool fans, just decompress for a little bit. Let's look to the future. Any Arsenal fans, enjoy it while you've got it, because you've seen firsthand from Liverpool just how far you can fall in the space of one season. But and you know what though, up to Scotland as well is right, Gav.
Yeah,
I do want Scotland to get out the group, lads. I do. I really do.
I'm excited. Thank you, Gary. Thank you for coming on the journey with me, and really appreciate everything. And we're excited to see where this goes next year for whatever show that Gary and Chris put together. Summer, we're still working on World Cup plans.
We'll get it all out to everybody. If you keep an eye on our socials, like I said, at the bottom down there, you can like, follow, subscribe at EPL Across the Pond, and we'll keep you updated with everything that's going on, lads. But thanks very much. That's been the EPL Across the Pond end of season award show. That's me.
That's it. Good night, guys.
I'm off down the dry cleaners. I'll see you later.